Alright, here's a video to show how to install XAMPP on Windows. I'm going to go to XAMPP and go to the ApacheFriends.org website and download XAMPP for Windows. So my download is complete. I will show in folder. There it is in my downloads, and I'll double click. And I would like to allow this device, published by VMware.inc, which is a reputable group. And then please note this little window here. This may or may not cause problems for you. But it says because I have user account control, which is the Windows tool for ensuring you don't download mischievous apps on your computer. Some of the functions of XAMPP are or may be restricted. So I will remember this and come back later and reconfigure my user account control with msconfig after I'm done here. So I'll click OK. Let's see what we can do. So now I'm in the wizard, and I will click Next, and I want all of the options. This will install the software on my C drive in the XAMPP folder, which is good. That's at the root level. We'll use that. English is good enough for me. And there is an option to add the ability to download additional software using Bitnami, which is associated with the XAMPP people. For plugins like Drupal and Joomla, WordPress is a really popular blogging software. We won't be blogging too much on our installations. So the browser window has moved over to show me a stack of applications that I could use. So the Bitnami module would be installed above the XAMPP components. That's the Apache and PHP and Perl components, which are running on my virtual server here on the computer. I don't think I'll do that right now, so I will go back to the XAMPP installer, and I'll click Next. This will take a few minutes, so I'll fast forward through this so that you don't have to wait. So now the download has completed, but I'm getting a warning message from Windows Security. It's asking me if I would like to attach to private networks or home or work or school or any public networks like at Starbucks or crazy places where you don't know about the security. So I'm going to turn that off. You can live dangerously and click that if you want. And now I'm done. Now the XAMPP control panel pops up, and it gives me the option of turning on the Apache web server, the MySQL database server, and a couple of other applications that we can check into later. I will turn on Apache. Notice that this has turned green now, It says PIDs, that stands for process IDs, and it says ports 80 or 443. So those are the normal ports for HTTP and HTTPS, the secure version. So that means if I go to my browser and type in localhost:80, I should get the PHP dashboard page. So what I am viewing here is a page that has been composed on my computer by my Apache server using PHP. I would also like to, at this point, download Microsoft Visual Studio Code, which is the text editor, the code editor that I recommend. It has all sorts of very nice features. I will download this. Shouldn't take very long. For Windows. I'll use the user installer, 64 bits. And as you can see down here in the lower left corner, it's downloading about 76 megabytes worth of stuff. And that is done, so I can show in the folder and open that. And I'll get the code installer. I accept your terms. This is going to be installed somewhere else. That's okay. And the name will be Visual Studio Code. I could, sure, I'll put a icon on my desktop. This won't take long at all. So now Microsoft Visual Studio Code is installed, and there it opens. Let me open this up a little bit. And what I would like to do is to investigate the location of my XAMPP installation. There's XAMPP, and in the XAMPP folder, so it's my PCs, forget about Boot Camp, that's for me because I'm on a map, but it's my C partition, and then XAMPP, and then I can go to my HTML docs, htdocs right there, and notice that there's a file here called index. It's a PHP file. So let's see if I can drag it into Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is saying, hey, do you trust the person who wrote this file? And this is not a simple question to answer, but we know we just downloaded it. So I'm going to open it, not in restricted mode, but just open it. And here you see the code. There we go. Zooming in a little bit. This is the code that is in the file called index.php, which will run anytime you try to access your web server. Web servers will default to opening a file called index.html or index.php if you don't have an index.html file. And this code here between the angle brackets $PHP and close bracket is PHP code. We'll learn how to interpret this later. If this code fails, the server will return an error message like this. So there's one other thing I might like to do here, and that is to go into my settings, Control plus comma and do a search for PHP. There it is. I'm going to edit the settings in JSON. And currently the executable path, which would allow me to run code from inside the editor, is set to nothing. But I happen to know that there is a PHP application or service installed on my computer. If I go back to my XAMPP folder, I'll go back to XAMPP and I'll go to PHP and I'll scroll down to this PHP. There it is, the plain old PHP. I can click on it and then right click on it and get the properties for it. Its properties are that it is located here. So I'll copy that and I'll go back to code and paste that in here. So now whenever it wants to run PHP code, it knows where to look. So I will save that with a Control S. And now I'm all set. Just to verify that, there I am in my settings.json file, and I've set the PHP validate executable path. There are so many things in the settings that we can come back in and look at as we need to make adjustments to them. But for now, that should get you going with XAMPP and PHP. The HTML files that we will be working on will be stored in that htdocs file.